all right? So another thing over here is we have control. So this has to do with relationships where one person, and this is usually more with kind of marriage or, you know, boyfriend-girlfriend relationships where one person tends to be the controller. They want everything done for them. They want you to take care of their every need. They don't want you to go anywhere without them, even though they might not be contributing shit to the relationship. You know, and your whole kind of identity in everything you do has to be tied around them. You have to kind of, you know, be waiting on them all the time, like serving them, there for them all the time. They control the relationship. And what happens is when we get mixed up in with those types of people and we allow ourselves to be controlled, what happens is we lose our sense of freedom because we start to feel confined. And so to the extent that we're confined and we're being controlled, we lose our freedom, right? Freedom, the opposite of freedom is control. So the more controlling somebody is, and you get wrapped up in that and you allow yourself to be controlled that way, the less freedom you have. And here's the problem with a lack of freedom is that the less freedom we have, the less happy we are, right? And I think, you know, you would agree that as a whole, everybody's goal really ultimately is to be happy. I mean, because without happiness, what else is there? What else do we really have but to be happy, right? So controlling relationships, kind of big red flag. We've got exercise over here, kind of like diet, right? What would exercise have to do with anything? Well, more than you think, because exercise is really the way that we move blood and oxygen and nutrients. We move energy through our body. We pump energy, right? So when we have a lack of movement or a lack of exercise, and it doesn't mean you got to lift weights and pump iron and do these big workouts, right? It's an option, but it's just movement, right? Because it's so important when we lack that movement or enough of it or the right kind of it, our energy becomes kind of stagnant. It becomes stuck. And when energy becomes stuck, right, life is all about movement. Think about it, the whole creation of life. It's based around movement. Energy moving. When energy doesn't move, life ceases to exist. And that does affect your relationships. When you don't have life moving through you, basically you're not living anymore. You're kind of just existing, which means that you're slowly dying. And when you bring that shit into a relationship, think about what kind of quality of a relationship you're going to have when you feel fucking dead inside all the time. So, you know, it's huge to have that. And then also it gives us a physical outlet. You know, like I said earlier with stress, we're so overburdened with stress nowadays. It's causing more problems than ever before, and it's only getting worse. But a lot of times we keep all that in, and we need a physical outlet to push that stress out of our system. And so that's what exercise helps us do, right? So, and when you don't do it and you keep all that in, just think, you know, that's like the shit with thoughts and emotions. It's part of it, becomes part of that as well. And eventually, you know, it just blows up in your relationship at some point. You could be pissed off at somebody else, dealing with work shit or stuff outside of your relationship, and you bring that home with you, and out of nowhere, one day, bam, you just kind of blow up and lose your shit, right? At the wrong people. You misdirected at them. And it creates a lot of problems in relationships when that's happening. And then the final thing we have in here is self-neglect. I can't tell you, I used to work in fitness as a personal trainer and a fitness coach, and I cannot tell you, you know, I about 90% of my clients were women. And this isn't just a woman thing, but it is very common among women, especially women in relationships with men who they are the caretakers of the house. You know, when you know, the husband or the boyfriend's working, you know, and she might be working too, but if she's working, she's got the extra burden of taking care of the house and taking care of the kids and doing all the shopping and the cleaning and dropping the kids off at school and picking them up and taking them where they got to go and fixing the dinner and preparing the lunches and wearing every fucking hat imaginable. And what happens is that they end up putting everybody's needs before their own. But then what happens is that they end up becoming very stressed out, very burned out, very wiped out, frustrated, feeling alone, feeling trapped, feeling angry, feeling depressed, and ultimately not feeling like themselves. They start to lose themselves along the way. And the thing is that they're trying to give so much, but what happens is they deplete the resources that they have within them to give. So they over time have less and less and less of themselves to give. You know, it's kind of like you cannot give what you don't have for yourself. You cannot give love to somebody else that you don't have for yourself. You know, you can't give care to somebody else when you don't know how to care about yourself. So it's, you know, one thing here is something that we're taught, you know, not to do. It's not appropriate to be selfish. It's not appropriate to only think about yourself first. Well, bullshit. It absolutely is, and you have to. Especially in a relationship, you have to, because you want to give 100% of what you got into your relationship to the people who need you the most and depend on you the most, right? But if you don't have all that to give, then, you know, really how much are you giving to the relationship if you can't give all of you, right? But you got to take care of your own needs first in order to be able to take care of everybody else's needs, right? So that's the thing, the 10 kind of hidden relationship killers. And, you know, the more of these that, you know, if you were doing this, yes, and agreeing with that, the more of these you have going on, the more important it is to deal with them, to fix them, to talk with somebody, get help from somebody, you know, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a coach, you know, somebody who can help you kind of get to the root of these issues and address them. Because if you don't, what you'll find is that the quality of your relationship over time starts diminishing and diminishing. And again, so much of our lives are just about relationships. It's, you know, one of the most important things that we have. So we want to do everything we can to maintain and really have healthy, happy, harmonious relationships. All right, so that's it. This was a long video, but again, you know, I think it was super important to get this out. If you have any questions, post them. Let me know. And until next time, always have faith, follow your heart, and trust yourself, and take care of this stuff. Talk to you soon.